to Your Live Event Robotics Show. I'm super excited to be joined by Olaf and John. This is actually one of the first time that I've had two mentors at the same time during one of these, so this is actually really kind of cool.
Good.
But both are Techno Tigers, 3102. Again, we got Olaf and John, mentors for the Techno Tigers. So real quick, how are you guys doing?
It's build season. We're waking up at 3:30 in the morning thinking about robotics and not going back to sleep.
No doubt.
No kidding. So, hey, like you just said, it is building season. We'll definitely get to that, but I do want to take like maybe two steps back.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about last year's and kind of last year's season or game or what have you. How'd you guys? I know we were able to talk in Babbitt, but how'd you guys think you did last season?
I think it was great. It was a very successful season. We were competitive. It's very honestly if that one thing would have gone right, we'd have gone the distance kind of a gig. But total package, I thought we were we had a great season. We always talk about robotics. There's a ton of smart people in the world. This isn't, it's not like a sport. It's, it is a sport, but it's not a sport, and it's global, and there's one class, and, our students created a nice product. We're more than just robots. Our impact team, our outreach team, our education team, they all did everything we asked and beyond. Robot performance wise, we were finalists, Alliance captain in Arkansas, and in Iowa. I don't remember if we were Alliance captain in Iowa or not. I think we were the Alliance captain in Iowa.
Oh, no.
No, we weren't. We got chose quickly. But our Alliance
Made the semifinals.
Yeah, made semifinals, lost by 1 point, and then it was one of those cases, the team you get knocked off goes out and wins. So that's good.
That's definitely something. Actually, I do remember talking to you after I believe after Iowa and going over that. Yeah, no. Now, Olaf, we've definitely talked before, but John, real quick, how did you get into robotics, and what brought you?
Well, my son, he joined the team when he was a senior, and was talking about it. I'd kind of heard about it quite a bit over a couple years, while they were in high school, but he decided to join the team as a senior. And I went to the double decker in Duluth, and I knew nothing about it. I didn't go watch them build or anything. And I went to the double decker and got there like about a half hour before it started, drove into the parking ramp there, and the lady's like, I don't think there's any spots left. And I said, well, what's going on? And she said, a robotics tournament. I was like, this whole parking garage is full of robotics people? And she's like, yeah. And I walked into the deck and I was just blown away, and I started going down to the pits and seeing how that whole cooperation thing worked, and teams running to other teams, helping them fix robots, even if they're the ones they're going to be competing against. And I just watched that, the fast cycle of these kids learning. I'm in IT and I do a lot of troubleshooting every day. And I just watched like how these kids are learning to work with different teams constantly all day and quickly have to troubleshoot. And I was just like, this is amazing. And so I signed on and started helping out wherever I could. So it's been awesome. It's taught my kids. I've had 4 kids in it. Three of them were really involved, and one decided she didn't like it. 3 daughters and one son, and one decided after a year it wasn't her thing, but the rest of them like full on in, and it's been awesome. My daughter's been the driver of this team. She's a senior this year, and she's been the driver for 3 years, and it's just fun to watch. And She was an introvert, and it's just brought her out of her shell. And to watch her, I would have had no idea she had ice in her veins, that she could be out there and not have any, like, it's not stressful for her. It is between rounds, but when she's out there, it's like, where's my daughter? What'd you do with her? It's kind of cool. It's kinda,
No, and like just hearing that, like that's so cool to hear it from your point of view, being a father and a mentor or coach, and seeing everything like you said. It really is something because I my first exposure to this was two years ago in Alexandria. And it was the same thing. You just stroll up in something, and everybody says like, "Hey, it's a rock concert. It's a rock concert." I was like, "Man, this like it reminds me of like old school WWF. This is awesome. It's so awesome." Um, and then just like you were saying, it is crazy like how much it like and Olaf, you were saying it too, like it is a game. It is a game. There is a game, but it's so I think you get like talking with the kids and everything else, they get so much more than, hey, we're just playing this game. It's all I mean, going from introvert to, hey, all of a sudden you're saying, I don't know where this ice and vein came from, but no, it's so awesome. It really, really is. I think that is probably that is one thing I think everybody for the robotics, everybody that I've talked to and being able to be around, I mean, that's definitely a gem in the crown for this entire thing for sure. Um, but you also brought up a little bit about, I always say like I do air quotes off season or like outreach and things like that, but like how was your off season this year?
Mhm. Oh yeah, we're all over the place. Most recently, we just got back from the Minnesota School Board Association's annual convention, and we spearheaded. We had 5 teams down there for Northern Minnesota. There was Nevis, Alexandria, Red Lake, Uppsala, and Babbitt. And each team brought down a small contingent of students. We brought our robots down. We set up a full field at the convention in the convention center with the exhibitors in the exhibitor hall. And these 20-some students talked to school board members and superintendents from the entire state of Minnesota. We did it this year. This was the second year of bringing the whole field. And then our team was invited, in the mid-teens, we went down just as our team and had a small booth for 2 hours and went down a few times. We're invited down. And so we have a little history there. It's grown to, again, we had students on the floor 12 hours a day at a convention, teaching people to drive robots, talking about their life, talking about the experiences through this in their child development, and then for us to sit back as adults and just watch them go. It's again, yeah, the robot's just a tool. I mean, it really is just a tool to create great kids, potentially great employees, like John said, networkers, problem solvers, success. It was cool. Was emailing the coordinator of the whole convention who lines up exhibits. I just emailed him the other day. He sent out a generic, hey, thanks for coming. If you're interested in coming back, let me know. Just to, the people who sell, whatever, janitorial supplies. I mean, from anything, accountants to whatever. And I shot him back and I said, we had went really well. Hope you enjoyed having us. Are you interested in the future, or are we kind of sunsetting this? And he was saying, heck no, I've already, you're back, you get the floor space. So, I mean, that's our most recent outreach. Beyond that, I mean, it's as simple as our local town celebration this summer. We carpet Main Street and drive robots, and we've got, grandmas and grandpas and toddlers held up on laps driving robots, and helping the Lions Club serve food, and it's total package. And then curriculum.
Lego League.
Lego, yes. This year we finally took the plunge and dove into first Lego League. We've been working on this for a year and a half. We were honored with becoming what's called a first partner school. There are only 58 of them in the world, and we earned that status. My wife is another one of our mentors. She spent scads of hours of interviews and applications and paperwork, and that happened. We created 2 Lego League teams with 8th grade students and competed in our first Lego League event last fall. So always growing, always evolving. Yeah, getting after it.
That's awesome. Now, there's a lot of things to kind of, again, that's why I always use the air quotes of like, your off season. You don't really have one. But so first time having the Lego League, I'll be honest, that seems more my speed if I were to ever do anything, because I'm like, I think I can do Lego League.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still use it to this day where I talk to the kids and I'm like, you're talking to a guy who can't toast or bread. I just don't know I can't do it. So all the stuff that they're able to do is absolutely absurd to me. And it's a little scary, but it's so cool. But so Lego League, you got the 8th graders going in. Like you said, there's so much you had to make 2 teams. Were you expecting like that much of we want to be a part of this? Or
I've said to anybody that listen, I was wrong. It was like, oh, we can't possibly do more. We can't do more. We can't do more. And first wants you to do it all if possible, like find the resources, create the opportunities for the kids, throw it out there and see what happens. Don't say I can't if you've never tried. Well, I was wrong. I was super impressed. The more I learned about it, I was like, wow, we should have been doing this forever. And we, that was a fall activity. And I mean, there were nights we had, I can't remember. I think we were at 18, 20 students, 8th graders. We only have 40 kids in the 8th grade class, and we had half of them here doing Lego League. So, and just watching them grow, I was wrong. It was cool.
No, that's really awesome. Now, again, kind of before we get into, this year's robot and what the team's doing, what you guys are doing, the kickoff event. I was actually at Fargo, the Air Museum. Very cool. It was also really cool how they were getting people to call in, and actually, you guys were one of the ones that called in. But not only were you guys one of the ones that called in, it looked like you guys kind of had a packed place. Like you had a lot of people there. So could you just go back and just kind of tell me, like, hey, how was the kickoff? Like,
you want it, John?
Celebration.
I don't remember how many teams did we have. 11?
I think we had 11 present. We had 13 signed up, but 11 came with students. Some just sent an adult to pick up their kit of parts. So yeah, go ahead.
So we had 11. We set up the field. In the past, when we did kickoff, they used to have teams where they would give them the drawings early, and you're supposed to kind of be quiet about it, and you build all these elements, and then you have that set up in the other room, and you have kickoff, and then everybody goes into the other room, and that's the first time they see it. They see a mock-up of the game with like wooden elements, and that's a lot of work and a lot of time, and maybe slightly advantageous to the teams building the elements, because they have a little bit of they don't know the game, but they know the elements. I don't know if it is an advantage or not, but they got away from doing that. And so, but that was really something helpful for teams could stand on the field, kind of interact with the elements a little bit. And really, I felt helped for speed up prototyping and development of like in strategy and how you're going to play the game. So this year we decided to set the field up again, and we wouldn't have those drawings until kickoff. But we talked to all the other teams around that were coming, and everybody brought cardboard. And so we had all this cardboard. It's a humongous pile of cardboard. And we quickly, within
About an hour,
all the teams got together, set up little build stations, and everybody built the elements as best they could out of cardboard in an hour. And then we brought in the little
Fiat scooters.
And we said the Fiat scooters are robots, and we stuck a student on there. And we had, while everybody was building, the rest of the team was going to learn how do you play this game? How do you score points? What are the rules? And so then they came back, and we played the game, as best we could, with one student pushing the other student on the little scooters, and they held the game pieces, and we timed it, and as best we could, we created like, what's this game going to be like? And we did that several times, and tried to like see like, how do you play this game? How do we interact with it? And then we kind of stopped, and then teams have strengths, and there's a team in NMRC Chaotic Robotics. Their bunter is really good at strategy, and we brought them out and said, hey, you've looked at this and you're really good at strategy. Talk about strategy and bounce questions off, and then just kind of started to kick that off. And I thought that was hugely successful. The feedback we got from the other teams, the other mentors, was really positive, and I think it helps kids visualize the game a little bit more and understand, where they're going, and helps in discussions. So it was great.
And we had about 170 students here. You said you saw us on the feed. Yeah, we had about 170 in attendance. And as we were, you're waiting for the video, and you're kind of filling time, and you're chatting, and it was like, hey, raise your hands if this is the first time you've ever, first time being in robotics. And I was shocked the number. Yeah, half of them was their first time. So they have no idea what, has gone in the past. But then those first timers, building on what John said, not only did they see the interaction of students, but they also saw the interaction of mentors, the co-opetition, the respect, Eric, we just kind of put him on the spot and said, this is Eric from Chaotic. Eric, come up here and take the mic and give us your rundown. And he, just graciously got up there and was candid and said, all right, this is a potential playbook, so it was something new. We were trying to figure out a way to make it worthwhile. You can watch a video at home. Why drive 3 hours to watch a video? So, who knows? Maybe next year we'll have more teams.
Yeah. It's just, the more you get together, the more these kids get together, the more they network. They just learn to reach out. I watch these kids, they get phone numbers and they text back and forth during build season, like, hey, we got this challenge. What are you guys doing? Hey, I got that challenge. What are you guys doing? And it's just just builds this networking. And I just think that's so important. And when you think about the world today and all the conflict and, animosity between people, like, the more you can bring people together that are not necessarily in the same building at the same time, and just that outreach, I think that's what this is about. And I think it's, one of the big core things that really is important today. So,
yeah.
No, and again, 100% agree. And it is awesome. It's really awesome to see the, Techno Tigers, the 3102. And whenever we are able to go out, and if that is Babbitt, Alexandria, Week Zero, things of that nature, like, you guys are all, like, you guys always have a really cool, like, I don't want to say minimal, because there's a lot of stuff going on in those pits, but your team, I never see your entire team in one spot, because they're all over the place, either helping or, talking and networking with other people, which is always fantastic.
Thank you.
Now, talking about this year's game, that I guess an easy question to ask, probably not an easy question to answer, but you're as mentors, what is your reaction? What do you think of this game?
I love it. It's going to be a fun one. Last year when the game came out, I was like, wasn't so excited about it. This one, it's going to be fast. Robots are going to be fast. There's some blind spots, so robots are going to be crashing. There's some struggle for the drivers to see. The strategy in this game is like going to be huge because there's so many different ways you can approach the game. And from a drive team / drive coach perspective, they're really going to have to cooperate on each alliance and even cross alliance, for doing some things like you have to do this to get this rank point or to get this, cooperation point. And then also, everybody has to be kind of on the same page to maximize their scoring in this game. So it's, there's a lot of strategy and it's going to teach the kids a lot, and they're going to have to learn to work together with their alliances, because otherwise you're not going to do good. Even if you're a really good robot, you're not going to be able to do it all. So
Yeah.
they're going to have to.
Yeah.
They're going to have to cooperate. They're going to have to figure out who's doing what in each game, and without that, it's. The world-class robots are going to be world-class robots, and they're going to do well, but they're going to have to figure out also how to bring in teams that are, average, and because they're going to need them to do certain things in order to score the most points. So it's that's what makes this game, I think, exciting.
Yep. You can't be a lone wolf.
Nope.
In previous games, a world-class team could win 1-on-3. I mean, their strategy could be, all right, you guys just go sit in the corner. Let us do our thing. And it's exactly what John said. You got to really work together and communicate and know and understand the rules. I mean, to where you're going to have to simply teach rules maybe in strategy sessions like, yeah, I know you can shoot these things really awesome, but you got to do it at the right time. Don't just go out and start lobbing them up there and, kill our chances with these cooperative opportunities that the game definitely has.
Yep. On the alliance and also with your opposing alliance. So
True.
It's a great deal. I love it.
Yeah.
Well thought out game.
Oh no, and that's the thing. I love it. I do like it a lot. There's a few things that I think are a little diabolical in the entire thing.
Always.
I want to know who decided, you want to know what, we're going to have a hanging element in it, but instead of an iron pole or a 2x4 you got to hang, we're going to do this chain. It's going to be pretty sweet. And I was like, whoa, that's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the game this year, I'm super excited to see everybody's answers to this problem, because it seems like I thought last year did a really good job with there's a whole bunch of different types of robots out there as well, a whole bunch of different answers. I think this year is even going to be more so, where it's there's a whole bunch of different answers to it. Does this thing really just shoot? Or what does the shooting mechanism look like? What does the hanging mechanism look like? All this other fun jazz. Now, what does practice right now look like for you guys?
A lot of head scratching. Blisters on our foreheads. Practice right now is, we have some core students who kind of lead some subgroups, and be it on design and build, or again, our impact team, we have as much attention on our impact team, to win that impact award and get that ticket to Houston because you're the model team at an event. I don't know. I kind of respect that one more than a robot that wins, my personal opinion. And I know it's
hard.
It's hard. There's brilliant teams out there that just do great, wonderful, creative things beyond create a pretty cool machine. So we're all over the board. You said it like you never see our team together all at one time because they're doing so many things. And that's kind of what our practice looks like. We are all over the place. We've got kids broken up into small groups of working with different mentors and yeah. So
kids driving, kids programming, kids prototyping, kids working on impact and, working on speeches and working on, pulling together everything they did just so that they, can explain it,
Yep. Historically, we've done a lot of stuff with first ladies. We historically have a really significant percentage of females. We have a really gender diverse team in a not so gender diverse world of anything STEM. That's just the fact of the matter. But so many years we've been doing first ladies activities. We do them at our kickoff. We do them at week 0. We've hosted first ladies presentations at regionals and have done this often. We teach classes in off-season jumpstart to other teams. And so we are traveling back to Arkansas this year. Last year we had a wonderful experience, got to know the coordinators and kind of the who's down there. And we reached out to them and said, hey, we do this first ladies thing up here. We see you don't have one. Is that something you'd be interested in? And talking with them. And the next thing you know, whammo, they're having it for the first time ever. And so the team that's the host community, we're going to co-op with them and conduct the first ladies presentation at that regional. They've never had it before. So again, what do? Lots of stuff.
No, that's awesome. Now, you mentioned impact, which is an award and everything, and you have an impact team. Could you go a little bit deeper into like what is that?
Yeah, so we have a dedicated team of mentors that works on that with students every day. I mean, every minute that goes in that robot, there's an equal minute that goes into the Impact Award. And the Impact Award is a series of essays where you answer, you're given prompts like, what does your team do for this? And what do they do for that? Fall back on what is impact. The Impact Award goes to that team. I mean, let's say there's 60 teams at a competition. Who's the team? Who's the model? Who does it all? Who can other teams, who could a rookie team look up to and go, oh, wow, that's world class? Because that impact team gets a ticket to Worlds because they are a world class team. Team. Not they build a world-class robot. They're a world-class team. So I forget how many regionals there are in the world. If there's 10 a week for 10, 12 a week for 6 weeks, let's say there's 75 regionals in the world. So there's going to be 75 teams at Worlds competing to be the number one team in the world for impact. Team 1816, Green Machine out of Edina, won it
3 years ago?
Yeah, a handful of years ago at Worlds. I mean, they were it. They were the best team in the world. Team, and they're a Minnesota team. And we compete against them, communicate with them, Yeah. So what makes you a world-class team? And it doesn't matter how big a town you're from.
Yeah.
So
how big is your impact for what you have? Like, how do you impact the kids? How do you impact the community? How do you impact FIRST? How do you impact STEM? That's basically what it is.
Yeah. The curriculum is taught in your school. It's total package. So.
And again, I think that's really a perfect way to end. But again, it's going back to, and you keep on harping on team, team, team. It's great. You have an awesome robot that can do every little thing. That's not what it is. And like John and everybody has said, that's what's super special about, NMRC, robotics first, all the like it's so not about robots, but it's about robots.
Yep. Exactly.
No, no. But one last question. As mentors, head coaches, or coaches, whichever word you want to use, very interchangeable. Any, it kind of sounds like you do have a goal this year, but any team goals or even personal goals for you guys?
I'm sorry, we don't sit down and make a goal list. We really should. I mean, we do have, again, falling back to our impact team, we have, every year we have a theme. Our theme this year is, the theme of the game is crescendo. And so our impact team came up with a slogan for us this year, and it's "Let's get loud." And loud isn't just a voice. Loud is loud ambition, loud action, loud outreach, loud professionalism, loud, just be loud, don't do it average, do it more than average. And it's going to be on our shirts this year. It's going to be 3102, let's get loud. And it's really, and I don't work with that segment of our team, but to just hear them talk about, well, define loud, and just to see the creativity of the students, that's a pretty cool goal.
I mean, I would say we do talk every year, and I would say our number one goal is to win an impact award.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we continue to grow things. That's why we continue to do the outreaching and everything we do is, that's a goal. So, he said, well, we don't really talk about a goal, but I mean, it's every year when we get together, it's like, how do we move closer to the ability to win that impact award? What do we need to do? How do we get better? How do we impact more of the community and more at first so that, we can be that shining light that get that ticket to Worlds and get that recognition and, bring it back to these kids, because these kids put so much time and energy in it that, they deserve it. And, we as mentors try to do what we can to help foster that environment so that they can achieve that. And that's probably our biggest goal. And, obviously we want to build a good robot and we want to be competitive, but it's that whole piece all around.
Guys, seriously, thank you guys so much for talking. This was an awesome conversation. Love speaking with Olaf. Loved meeting you for the first time there, John. This has been fantastic. But for everyone else, make sure you're staying tuned. We'll be right back.
Engineering, architecture, land surveying, environmental services. We have the experience to tackle all manner of projects. Widseth is known as a firm that is solid, agile, and versatile. And that's the kind of reliability you can expect when you engage us on your project.
They are invested in our community. They are invested with our people. They're going to create a product that's going to exceed our expectations every single time. That is why we go with Widseth.
At Enbridge, we believe sustainability is the foundation of our success. How well we perform as a steward of our environment, a safe operator of essential energy infrastructure, a good neighbor, and a diverse employer defines our success. Learn more about Enbridge's environmental, social, and governance commitments and our Indigenous Reconciliation Plan at enbridge.com.
And it is time for the Your Live Event Robotics Show here on yourliveevent.com. Today we are here with Briley and Riley, who are from the ProDigi robotics team, and that would be team number 3277. And Briley and Riley, let's start with Briley. That's kind of a tongue twister there a little bit, but but yeah, you guys just want to tell us a little about yourself, how long you guys have been in robotics, grades you guys are in, just kind of different information like that.
All right. I am a sophomore this year, so 10th grade. I've been on the team for the past, since my freshman year, but I also helped out a bit my 8th grade year of middle school. I was on a middle school robotics team at that time as well. But after that practice was done, I came and helped out both my parents because they were mentors on the team. So I'd been on the team for a little bit. I joined because like I said, I was on a middle school robotics team. Both my parents are mentors. My brother was in it. My older brother was in it. So it's been kind of a family lineage, I guess.
I am a freshman and this is my first year here. I was also on a robotics middle school team and I joined because it is something I am passionate about.
Awesome. And what would you guys say your guys' roles on the team are?
Last year I was really a builder and a driver. This year I've hardly had a step in because we lost our lead programmer and we haven't had anyone who worked under her. So I've taken a role as lead programmer, and with our team being so small, I kind of fill in wherever I can. So if there's a role on the team, that's also my role.
I'm kind of like that, except I'm not a main builder. I help out with some things and I am not a driver. I am looking into programming and I'm learning bit by bit as I can.
Team media.
And then team media. I fill in for team media a lot too.
What would that team media be?
That is our website, Facebook page, Pinterest page, not Pinterest, and then YouTube page and Instagram.
Okay, and you guys kind of mentioned that you guys are a smaller group. How many people are a part of your guys as a team?
We have seven students, and we have a couple mentors, but we have about 1 or 2 consistent mentors that come there. But I think we have 5 total who kind of come in and out.
Awesome. And what would you guys say your favorite part about robotics is, and kind of what stood out to you most about it when you first kind of wanted to get into it?
I really like the whole idea of starting with absolutely nothing, and then that week before you came from completely nothing to this robot that is ready to take you into the competition, and you see the faults of it and the sides that you can make better and get ready for the next competition, and then putting in that work. When we last year had a robot that we went to a competition and we had another one next week, and we decided, hey, this one isn't very good. Let's try rebuild it in 1 week. And that was quite the year. But we ended up with a robot that did what we wanted it to do, and it was really cool. So really just that idea of coming with nothing, seeing how your robot can change over the year has really been my favorite part of the robotics.
I like it for the problem solving aspect of it and the fact that it opens up the career field.
Okay. Yeah, and to kind of speak more about that, has robotics or been being involved in robotics kind of made you want to do something kind of familiar with the robotics field after high school?
Most definitely. I think going to robotics has kind of helped me look more into the industrial side of it, kind of like a fusion, like a CAD or a assembly line kind of career there. It's definitely, and then working in robotics, something very similar to that, where you're using all these parts that are coming together to build something, and then also that coding side that I've gotten more into it as well.
I'm personally looking into something to deal with the actual mechanical engineering or the software development for things. I feel it has really opened it up because learning through the programming, I'm slowly being able to understand what that needs to be done and how to do it.
Okay.
And you guys kind of mentioned a little bit earlier about last year, and I guess how did you guys do last year? Or what kind of events did you participate in? And just looking toward this year, what are you looking forward to most about this year?
Last year we went to two regionals. We went to the Grand Forks, the Great Northern Regional, and we also went to one down in Iowa. At the Grand Forks Regional, we had a true tank drives. We had tank with tank treads, and we had like a excavator arm. During that competition, our excavator split in half. Our T-nuts of our 80/20 channel pulled out of the 80/20 channel, and we were on the field in multiple parts. So we had to put that back together during that competition. And our critical failure was the arm was too slow if we had to fully extend to pick up cones, and just too slow overall. And while we were building that robot before that competition, we'd kind of been messing around with swerve. And like the week before, we had our swerve just working perfectly. So after that competition, we have I think it was about 2 weeks before the Iowa regional. And we were like, we want to try swerve. And if we're going to do swerve, we're going to try a different arm too. So we booked it, and we had, the first week was kind of protoing an arm and putting it on there. And we went through 3 different arm types. We would try this arm, we put it on, it would be like 9 o'clock at night, and it wouldn't work. So we would go to the next day, do the same thing again, and it wouldn't work. And we finally ended up with putting some drawer slides on, and it was like the day before, and we're like, it's working, and we're gonna hope it keeps working. And at the regional, we were able to go all the way up to the 3rd tier, but during one of our first matches, it broke. And so we moved it down so it didn't stick out quite as far. So we could only go up to the 2nd tier. And that's what we finished our competition with. And for placing wise, or ranking wise, we didn't do very good, but our consistent scoring was just really good. We just didn't have good matchups down there.
Okay. And just taking a look at some upcoming events. So what do you guys have coming up?
We have a competition March.
I think it's week 5 or no, week 2. The Great Northern Regional again is our next regional. And then we're also planning on going to the St. Cloud Regional.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about this year's game. I know every year they kind of they pick a game that you guys will have to obviously build the robot and to do and compete that way. You want to tell us a little about the game this year and some of the bigger changes you have to make compared to last year's robot?
So our game is we have these orange rings that are called notes, and we are supposed to collect them, and then we either put them into a scoring called amp, or we launch them into another scoring that is a speaker. And then at the end of the match, we go and we hang on a chain, and there is an optional to put a note in the trap. And then at the end, there is another option for a human player to throw a special note, a high note, onto a stand called a microphone, which hangs that stands on top of the stage, which has the hang and then the trap.
The strategy for this year has been really it's been a lot of looking into that. The first thing we looked at right away in the rules was, could you shoot full court? And of course that was a big no. We're comparing this year's game to, I think it was 2012 with the Frisbees, something very kind of similar to that, except for you can only have one game piece at a time. The field is very open, so we're kind of looking at, I'm not maybe seeing much for defense. I'm seeing a lot of very offensive robots, and it's going to be how fast you can cycle your note from getting it up at the human station and bringing it over and shooting it. Also a little bit of strategy in when you want to activate your amp, your point bonus, your amplified bonus, because it doubles the points of all your notes scored at the time up to 4 notes or 10 seconds. So looking at when do we want to activate that amp and kind of really talking with your teammates on when to do that is kind of the strategy there this year.
And do you think it's going to be a more difficult game than last year? Similar, easier, or How do you think it compares to last year's game?
I think I'm looking more at the ranking point side of it because the ranking points for us have always been our big issue is we always go for like highest score, but we always end up not getting the ranking points. So that hang ranking point really depends on either if you get the trap, if you can't get the trap, almost all three of your teammates have to be able to hang if you want that ranking point. So I'm hoping to see a lot of robots at the competition that can hang. We're looking at doing a trap mechanism, but we hardly haven't had anything like planned out for that. So this year it's really, I'd say it's on the same level as last year game, except for the main principle is simpler, but the harder principles are more complicated. So in some ways it's easier, in some ways it's harder.
Okay. And I guess what are some things that you learned from last year that you will be looking to carry over from this year? Or to this year, I should say.
The swerve drive, we just got that up and working yesterday. We talked to another team and they were using Pigeon. That was something we never heard of, and we used it and we got it working in a day. So that's pretty awesome for us.
Must have broken for like a week before.
Yeah, we had some issues. Something that I guess that we really learned would probably be, I guess what I learned personally would be a lot of programming. I talking to the lead programmer and trying to learn some of that. But for game wise, I can't think if there's any big takeaways I had.
How about you, Riley?
From the little bit I've seen of the game last year is that I see less human interaction with the robot because there's only like a feed station. I'm pretty sure, isn't there one where the robot can go and get it itself? I'm pretty sure there's one.
You gotta feed it.
Yeah. But I see less human interaction with the robot and then less dynamic of the pieces that you're supposed to pick up and shoot.
One thing I guess I would have as a takeaway would be that last year's game wasn't very defensive. There was hardly much. I remember like going into finals, nobody played defense. It was all bots running back and forth and back and forth. Maybe the third pick, if they couldn't really score very fast, they tried to play some defense, but with the swerve, there was no chance. They were moving right around them. So I'm seeing kind of a similarity there.
And then just as individuals, where do you think you have improved the most since last year's robotic season?
Again, myself, I would definitely say that programming aspect of it. I've learned a lot more in this last year of how the code is written and how it works and how it all talks through the commands to the subsystems and then the commands back down to your container and all of that.
What I've learned more is basically just FRC robotics itself. From the program I did the year before was a complete different program. It had Vex IQ. It had no ties with FRC.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've learned this year is just the basic like cooperation between the teams. Just in general, it's kind of eye-opening compared to what I did last year.
Yeah, and I know you guys are kind of mentioning earlier that you guys kind of bounced ideas off of other teams or discussed with other teams, and I think that was one thing I always found very interesting about robotics and then the NMRC in general is that typically in other competitions you see people like they want to hide their strategies and stuff like that, but in NMRC and robotics, it's a lot of you're bouncing ideas off of other teams, you're helping other teams, and just what does that say about the environment at these robotics events and just overall, what's it like to be a part of something like that where you guys are trying to help each other and prop up each other compared to just trying to be in there to win it?
I think it really shows how much everybody wants to see you get to the competitions and see how you can maybe borrow somebody else's idea, but take it and make it your own and make it suit what you're planning to do with your robot. It really shows the creativity of the people and just how willing they are to give help with somebody else in need.
I'm gonna go along the lines of with what he said. It is just amazing how the teams cooperate with each other and will hand someone basically an idea and say, take this and do what you want with it.
Awesome. And obviously at the beginning of every year, you guys set goals, personal goals and team goals for yourself. So what is your guys' overall team goal for this year and your goals as individuals?
I'd say our team goal would be to really, I mean, we usually set this one every year, but it's to be able to do everything. That's kind of our always highest goal, is we always try to go for everything. And in a game like this, where your scoring is usually pretty easy, and the hang isn't too hard either, but it's that trap, that last set. So really trying to get a trap mechanism, as I say, our team goal. And me, as my personal goal, would be to help with the program and help understand how it works more than I did last year. Last year I knew some parts of it, but didn't know fully. And right now I'm saying I'm right on track to meet that goal. I've kind of been step by step on writing this code.
Awesome. And then you guys' name is ProDigi. You guys are from the Thief River Falls school, or you guys are kind of out of that Thief River Falls area. And I assume that means that you guys are kind of affiliated with DigiKey, who obviously is a big tech company. They kind of do stuff like that. So does it kind of help having them kind of at your back also? Are you able to like kind of bounce ideas off of people who maybe work in that technology field or anything like that?
You go.
Our mentors, two of our main mentors that come, they both work at DigiKey, and from my personal experience, they've both played really big parts in what I've learned for sure. Knowing that they're here to help if we need just more minds to be put together with the building of the robot and how stuff is supposed to work is, I would say, a big plus.
Yeah. Alex is our only programming mentor, and he comes from DigiKey, and his understanding of how code itself is written and the way it should be, and then I know more of the syntax of how WPILib works, has really been a key importance to this, because I know very little about Java coding as a whole, but I understand how the WPILib system works. So having him to be there to help bounce ideas off of, and when he gets stuck, I can help him, and when I get stuck, he can help me. And him coming from DigiKey, I don't think if DigiKey wasn't our main sponsor, he would never have probably never ever met him. So that's really been an important thing.
Awesome. And obviously robotics continues to grow across Minnesota, North Dakota, and this kind of the country in general. How would you guys sell robotics to a kid who's maybe interested in it or is hesitant to join? Like, how would you sell it? What would you tell them to kind of get them to join the robotics, and how it would benefit them as an individual?
Since I'm part of the team media, I did make a video covering some of this. And what I put down is that there are many opportunities for you to find what's.
All right, you're good.
Okay. I put down that there are many opportunities for you to find what you want to do or what you like. Some of the ones that I have put down on there are the big main few roles that you see. There are many.
Testing 1 2. Test 1 2
on the
3.
team.
Testing 1 2 3
We
4.
have team media and the programming and all of that. So there are many opportunities for you to find what you like to do. And so I would offer that out and just say that you're not free to do whatever you want, but you are free to let your ideas run wild and just ask. Just ask. That's the big thing.
Yeah, and I mean, just kind of even taking a look at you right here, it's like not to be in robotics, you don't have to be some kind of tech person. If there's like a role for you on your team, if you want to do kind of more of the social media side, which can also set you up for a career later on in like something like marketing.
Yeah, there are so many opportunities for you to follow just like a path through robotics that can lead you out into a actual career field in the world.
Perfect. And just taking a look at my sheet here, I think you guys have pretty much answered everything on my end. So is there anything I guess you wanted to tell our listeners watching at home about your guys' upcoming year, your guys' team, or just yourselves as individuals?
I think we're just hoping to put on a good showing, and not fall in half twice this year. That's our hopes anyways.
Well, perfect. Thank you too for your time here today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
A foundation forged in their grandfather's shop. Matt and Mike Martins know firsthand the value of quality machinery. At Martins Welding and Machine, they rely on 3 generations of knowledge and expertise in creating quality products for farmers, ranchers, residents, and businesses across North Dakota and beyond. To browse their full selection of bin caps, bale feeders, rock lifts, disc attachments, and more, visit martinswelding.com. Also ask about their garage doors. Martins Welding and Machine. Matt and Mike will make it right.
This is Chris from RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer. Manage what you can to overcome what you cannot. Farming is all about preparing your operation to be successful when given an opportunity. Invest a few minutes and bring in your seed meters to be reconditioned and calibrated. We have some room, so give us a call and we can help you overcome those simple obstacles. RDK Enterprises, 636-2119 or planterdoc.com.
Gordon Construction of Mahnomen is a Native American-owned business proudly operating on the White Earth Indian Reservation since 1983. As a bonded general contractor, Gordon Construction provides years of experience in large, detailed, and within-budget projects. Gordon Construction is committed to the safety of its employees and the environment of its work sites. To learn more about Gordon Construction of Mahnomen, visit gcmahnomen.com or call 218-935-2191.
Welcome back to the Year Live Event Robotics Show. I'm Jack. I'm super excited to be here with RoboJacks Team 4674. I got Matthew, Connor, and I'm going to apologize again. I'm going to try to say your name right, but it's Hikari?
Yep, close enough.
Hikari, yes, okay. Boom, I'll take it. Now, we also have to the side, he's going to be kind of the voice without the face, but we do have mentor Kirk with us as well. But first and foremost, how's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Doing good. Tired as per usual.
Tired honestly, today has got me too. I am quite tired. I'm quite tired, but let's start off with last year. For Matthew and Hikari, you both were here last year, either first, second year for each one of you. It's pretty cool. It seems like you have a really kind of fresh new team, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But how'd you guys think you did last year?
Well, I would say last year was a pretty good success for our team, as even last year we had a large percentage of our team who was just in their first season. We didn't have much experience, and we built a much more complicated robot than we've had in past years, and we're able to perform well with that robot as well.
Even in the media team, since they didn't have an experienced media worker before, and I've been working with it for a couple years, even before robotics, we were able to get some more detailed buttons that were still able to look pretty good. So we were able to give a lot of those out to our fellow robotics teams.
and believe you me, we'll talk about the button shirts and everything else. I actually have one of your buttons. It's actually on my home office wall from last year from the tournament in Babbitt. Um, now, you brought up the media team. I always love hearing, again, when you watch robotics, everything else, you really only get to see like such a very small portion of what robotics really is. Could you talk a little bit more about, the media team and what you do to like kind of on a day-to-day basis?
Well, a lot of media workers also work in the build team, but for the people who work mostly in media, we help with organizing grants, photos, social media. We do button designs, we make buttons, and we just do a little bit of everything in the media area.
Perfect. Now, was the media area something like you came in and was like, hey, I want to do that? Or was it something like, okay, yeah, I'll try it, and you kind of ran with it? Or was it more just like, oh, it happens?
Well, I started out maybe wanting to build, but there's a lot of builders. So I figured I'll just go with media because I've been doing it for a couple of years. I know how to do it. It's pretty easy to, just transfer into something you already know how to do, especially since I was an older member.
Okay. No. Perfect. All right. Now, I always use air quotations for this part because at really only being introduced like 2 years ago to robotics and hearing all the stories and everything else, I've noticed you don't really have an off season. But if you like, how has the off season gone? How has like the outreach stuff gone? Anything, between games, let's call it.
So this past summer and fall, I'd say we've had a pretty decent off season. We went to multiple events through the summer. I believe Gitchigumi get together. I can't remember any others off the top of my head here. And then when we got into the fall, we started up our unified program, held the first competition in the upper Midwest for that. And then also I myself have been out mentoring a first Lego League team in Bemidji.
Okay. Now, you mentioned unified robotics. Could you get a little bit more into what that is? It seems like you guys kind of built this up from yourself.
So unified robotics is basically taking all of those participants who are in unified and giving them a touch into robotics, working with experienced members who know you do stuff with robotics. They build Lego robots using the same brains and technology as Lego League uses. And then they take that, put it all together, make a robot, and then compete in a competition.
Okay. All right. Now, again, going back a little bit to what you were just talking about with Lego League and having that, how has Lego League been for you? I mean, how is it a real different switch when you're going back to Lego League, or maybe this is your first interaction with Lego League?
Well, I mean, I'd say it actually has been a great time for me. The team I've been with is a great team, great kids. They're quite motivated, a little rambunctious at times, but even still, it's been a great time working with them. At the competition in December, which our FRC team hosted, the team that I'm mentoring advanced on to state. Then even into build season, I've been going down mentoring them. It's been a great time, especially great time revisiting Lego League from when I did that for 2 years in middle school.
Okay, no, perfect. Now, being able to put both of those hats on, hey, I'm still doing, obviously I'm part of RoboJacks and doing all that, but then putting on the like mentor hat, how is there a big giant switch for you, or is it more like, oh, I just kind of still do the same thing regardless?
I mean, it's kind of hard to explain As going into it, I've already had a lot of leadership experience from other activities, such as Boy Scouts. But it's just, even so, it does feel like there's been a pretty decent switch from being hands-on for robot, being hands-on for media stuff, to being hands-off with it and guiding them in how to do it and helping them to do their best.
Okay. No. Perfect. Now, all right, Connor, it's your first year. This is all. How new is all of this to you, or is this something like, oh, I've gone to events or whatever in the past, or is this brand spanking new and you're like, oh, well, this is crazy?
So before this, at the middle school, I did 1 year of Vex Robotics. So I did go to competitions there, and I have done a little bit, but I had to fully learn a lot more stuff because with Vex, it's a lot of already pre-made parts. You just put it all together. It's just a puzzle, basically. With this, you have to fully design everything out of it. It's not just putting pieces together. I have fully learned, well, not fully, but I have started to learn how to do the coding, which is Java language.
Oh,
That
okay.
also, just because I've built stuff, my brain, do bikes a lot, so mechanic stuff comes kind of easy to me. So I help mostly with the build team, but I do know how to code a bit.
Okay. No, I say this every single time, like for everybody in robotics,
Yeah.
it's so interesting to talk to people that can do this. I can hardly toast bread. Like that's as about as technical as I'm gonna get. Me being able to run, a Zoom meeting is partly a miracle. So when you guys are saying like, oh yeah, no, it's this, it's Java, like I've heard those words before, but what is Java?
So Java is just what type of words and what set words they have connected to do different tasks.
Okay.
It's a coding language.
Different languages.
Okay.
Sets of words do different tasks, and different amounts of words do different things.
To put it simply, it's the programming language that our team chooses to use as we program our robots.
Okay. No. Perfect. Now,
It's like the difference between Latin and Spanish. They're similar enough, but they're also kind of completely different.
right. Yeah,
They
because I know.
come from the same base, but the branching out is where you find most of the differences.
Right. Now, I've heard JavaScript before. I've heard a few other like coding languages and stuff like that when it comes to, talking to you guys, but it seems like Java is kind of the main one everybody uses. Oh, no. Now, getting into this year and, this game, first, what does practice look like for you guys right now?
I mean, really, it depends on what sub teams you're working with. Like for me on Tuesdays when I'm mentoring the FLL team, I only come in till 5 on Tuesdays and then stay for however late I end up staying. For me, as this year's programmer, I'm coming in, sitting down at a computer, staring at it for hours, trying to figure out what to put down on the code, and somehow making it work. Some days it's been troubleshooting our chassis to make it drive. Some days, closer to the beginning of season, the entire team's getting together and just brainstorming ideas and getting design for the robot.
Okay. When it comes to the robot, I mean, where are you with the robot? Are you already is the thing like built to a point where you can drive it around, or is it still in that, hey, we're still working on everything type of stage?
So currently we have our base robot, and we have our servo modules is just letting us turn the wheels that drive it, and it can fully drive. We've drove around, what was it, the half of the school? We did a full drive around half the school, And then we are currently building our intake and shooter all in one thing. So that's still in our prototype phase. We haven't finalized it yet. So we still need to prototype this last one, and then we'll be making our final. I'm pretty sure from what I've heard from one of our teammates.
Yeah, so a little more clarity on where we're at. We have our chassis done so we can drive a robot around. We are currently working on designing the arm mechanism for our robot. And we have the shooter and intake, which are one piece built. And it's basically set up waiting for the arm to be built so we can attach it to that and then to the robot.
Okay. And again, this is like you guys everybody learned about the game Crescendo. What was it, like four, like a month ago, right? The beginning of January. You've had, let's just say, a month. You already have the only thing it sounds like, to me, it sounds like, okay, you really just have to decide this is exactly how we're going to put the arm on. This is what the arm's going to do and how it's going to do it. But everything else seems like it's almost done.
On the build side, that is kind of where we're at.
Okay.
Still, most of it isn't programmed yet. Working on that right now.
Yeah. No, but again, that's so crazy. That's so crazy. You guys have built something that moves in less than a month, where it's just, again, it's nuts to me. Now the game itself, Crescendo, first, gut reactions on the games for you guys?
Well, it definitely gave me, and especially the new media team members, an opportunity to make a lot of fun buttons based on those words.
Okay.
And it also gave us a chance to, really reach out and see where our grants are, write thank you letters to those grants, redesigning a banner that fits with the theme and stuff. All kinds of good stuff on the media side, taking pictures and posting it to our social medias. I don't do that specifically, but I know the people who do, they're doing great with that.
Okay, no, perfect. So social media is ginormous. And again, you guys being able to be like, hey, yeah, no, we have to pump this out for ourselves.
Yeah, we got to produce a lot of stuff. Yeah. It's like builders and the media team both have like a mutual respect for doing the similar stuff that's similar, but also very different.
For, Connor, what your first gut reactions on the game itself?
My first gut reaction was it just looked really fun, personally, because I just came from Vex and we did a full thing with shooting. It's not ringed, but it was discs, so I already did a little thing on that. And then seeing like the person part where you throw the ring for a chance to multiply, it just made it seem like so much more fun.
I do love, I remember, what was it, 2 years ago, when I forget what the game was called, but basically the robot was shooting into this basket thing. There was this human element where you did shoot it. So I am happy to see a ring toss, almost horseshoe-esque human element. I always thought that was awesome and fun. Matthew, first gut reaction on the game.
I saw it and I'm like, this is going to be fun to figure out how to do it. I just saw it and I'm like, this is cool. How can we do it? Like, pretty much immediately, I started looking through the game manual, figuring out points and all of that. Just started strategizing immediately.
Okay. Oh.
I was just really interested in those foam donuts. I thought they looked kind of funny.
You see, everybody's telling me it's more like Nerf, because the first time I saw it, I thought it was a pool noodle. I thought somebody just glued two ends of a pool noodle together and was just like, there we go, there we got it. But you brought up, kind of figuring the game out, how to like I don't want to call them problems because it's part of the game and you got to solve it. Like getting over those hurdles, like what? Because for me, I definitely have I think there's something that's pretty darn diabolical in the game itself. What's a hurdle that, you saw and you were like, oh, okay, my mind's going all over the place with this hurdle?
I mean, when I first saw it, I didn't really see any of us initially, but at the kickoff event our team went to in Nevis, we broke out into a bunch of different groups, and the group I was in was looking over the game and strategizing for it. And one of the things that came up there was there's a very high congestion area where there's going to be a lot of robots moving through there all at the same time. And then bringing up the aspect of then, would you design your robot to be under 2 feet so that it can go under the stage and just have more ways to go around the field?
I didn't even think about making it short enough to just whip through that. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Connor, any big like problem you saw where your mind just went, okay, I wonder how we're gonna figure that one out?
The biggest thing that I went straight to is just the trap. Like, how are we gonna fit that in? Because you have to have something to push it open and keep it open when you put the disc in. So would you like push it and then shoot it in, or would you drop something that would have the disc on it that would push it and then dispense it? Just figuring out and then how to keep that within the space that you have.
So, okay, because this is interesting because I didn't even know. I watched the video so many times I didn't even notice. So you have to be able to, when it goes to, if it's it's the amp that you're talking about, right? Or is it the like side speaker thing?
No, it's on when you go up on the chain, you can get that little point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
So it's excuse me for the oversimplification of what this thing is. It's basically the equivalent of like of almost a trash can where you got to like push it and then drop something in. It's not just a hole.
Yeah, it's got a flap that is naturally kind of like this. You have to push it open to be able to drop the note in.
It's like those laundry chutes at hotels.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's crazy. I didn't even notice that. I thought it was just an open hole when you were hanging there. That's crazy.
And the other thing with the trap is it's like 4.5 feet or something above the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And the max robot height is only 4 feet. So you can only ever get the trap while you're on the chain.
Okay. And you're thinking about making a robot that's 2 feet. So, oh man, that's going to be interesting. I'll be interested to see how you guys pull that one. I like that. That's cool. Now it's funny, Connor, you actually bring up kind of what I think like that's diabolical. I didn't even realize the extra like 4 things that were going on, but just just being able to hang on something, I'm like, oh, that's really kind of an interesting design where you have to think about it, but it's not this like 4x4 or solid pipe that you're hanging. It's that chain. I just want to know, like, who decided, like, you know what, they're gonna have to hang on something, but it's gonna be a chain and it's just gonna like wobble the entire time. No, but it's early on in the build season. It's early on in this season, but any end goals for the team period, or even just your own personal goals when it comes to this season? Like, what are you guys looking to do? And yeah.
For me personally, as I stated earlier, I'm the programmer for the team this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that we can have a driving robot at the week 0 event.
Okay.
That is something we've struggled with in past years. Last year, we did have a driving robot, but not till partway through week 0. So I would hope that we're able to get the robot fully wired and mostly debugged before week 0.
Okay. Driving robot by week 0. Connor, any goals, team, or even personal?
I don't really have any team goals besides what we have stated and what Matt stated. But personally, I just want to be able to at least fully be able to learn how to code the robot and learn how to just think about how am I going to do this in probably the easiest and most simple way possible. What's the best way to do this? And try to get a little bit further on that. Get better at that.
And Hikari?
I'm hoping to get the newest media team members I'm hoping will come back next year as well and get them like really settled in so they can take over my job because I will be graduating next year.
All right. No, so leaving the playbook so everybody understands how to keep on doing what needs to be done.
Just to keep just to keep it going. Make sure I'm not leaving with them all just scrambling to learn.
Right.
Knowledge on like how to export PNGs and stuff so they don't accidentally corrupt their files. That's happens more often than you'd think.
No, I understand. I do all the media editing here as well. So yeah, no, I know the pain you're going through. So I understand that. Now I can't end the interview without talking about the button shirt. I'm more proud of myself that I didn't just like randomly start with that and we didn't go 15 hours with just the button shirt. So if you don't mind, explain the button shirt, and could you actually get a little bit closer so we could see like what's with all the buttons?
So I don't even remember how long ago it was. Quite a few years ago, before I was on the team. Kirk, do you remember how long this shirt's been around, flannel's been around?
Since maybe 17, 18.
That's like 6 years of this shirt's been going around. We've been just collecting buttons over the years. We got buttons here, across here, even on the back.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
I think, right?
I think we got one down here, one up here. Yeah, one down here.
I don't know
it's
if
like this one. It's just a generic team button.
Yeah, we've got one of the newer ones back there.
A water game, a running joke, and other various ones. I think those might be the only team buttons on here.
Yeah, you might have to grab those new ones we just made too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I've been begging him to just let me take the shirt so I can sew the buttons on instead of just pinning them so they stop stabbing people.
Wow, they don't stab people. They just fall off way too often. Way too often.
Yeah.
This isn't even much use, and this is. Actually, that's all that's in the pocket right now. Oh.
That's
then again, I'm also Then again, sewing those on is a hassle and a half, so we may just keep it as the chainmail that it is.
Now, with that being said, like, how is the thing? Like, how much heavier is it than like a typical? Is it as heavy as a jacket, or like what's up?
Oh,
I've held it. It's like an extra 2 pounds.
Okay.
More than that. It's more like 5-10 pounds.
That's why I said at least 2 pounds.
You're free to weigh this thing. Yeah, no, this thing is pretty hefty. Personally, when I wear it, I don't notice the weight too much. But yeah.
That might just be because he's used to it, though.
Very nice. No, I mean, it is very one of those. I've been kind of making a joke with the folks that we go and be like, oh, I hear RoboJacks somewhere, because I just hear you go ching 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 all around, and constantly. But it's so cool.
No. Well, we'll see one fell.
It is so, yeah. It is so cool. It is so unique. It is so cool and unique for a very cool and unique team. Seriously, guys, thank you so much for stopping in and taking a few minutes out of your day just to talk to me about everything that's kind of gone down last year, a little bit during the off season, and what's going on with practice and your robots and everything else now. But seriously, guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.